Hello, everybody. I am doing a live for you. Or is it for me? Well, it's for both of us, right? Hello, Miyamoto Musashi. How are you? How are you, Evie? How are you, Hamed? How are you, Edward? And how is everyone who is not written in the chat? Let me know, guys. How's life been for you? How's your dating lives? How's your love lives? How's your sex lives? How's your secret sex lives? You never know, guys. You never know what you're getting up to out there. I've been good. I had a baby, as you guys may or may not know, and he's adorable. He's pretty much the cutest baby ever, literally. So, guys, let's get into it. I mean, I don't think you've still mastered the art of understanding women, have you? Let me guess. No, you haven't. So, I think there's still a need for me to teach you some things about women and have a bit of fun while we're at it. So, we can do our old format of quizzing you and grading you harshly. Okay? Giving you Fs, giving you Ds, giving you D pluses, maybe an A plus if you're very, very lucky. We can just take some Q&As. You never know. So, what do you guys want? Ask me some questions and I will tell you no lies. In fact, I may just truth bomb the heck out of you guys because I need an outlet for that. I need an outlet for the mother rage. Just kidding. I don't actually have that, in my opinion. So let's look in the chat and I will see if I have been insulted, if I have been complimented, if there's any questions that are not insults. Let's see. So, Tamid Khan says, no offense. Uh-oh. But when I first saw your videos, I was sure all of them were filmed in 2000s because of how bad the camera quality is. Well, I'm pretty sure some of them were filmed in the 2000s, so... Wait, we're still in the 2000s, right? Or is that only like 2000 to 2010? But yeah, some of them definitely were filmed within that range, for sure. So, should I be offended? Not at all. I don't care at all. And guess what? I'm still using the same camera now that I used to film those. So, what do you have to say about that, Tamid? Clean Slate says, oh, wow, congrats. Thank you, Clean Slate. 485. MT says, congrats. I watched your 2-year-old vids. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So, Big Daddy says, I'm not sure about what. CJ says, what type of energy catches your attention in men? I would say a calm, not insecure energy. I like that. That is attractive. Tully says, hey, Victoria, what's your opinion on the difference of views with Corey Wayne? He considers masculinity, you consider the raw anger. You're going to have to flesh that one out for me. Are you saying he likes masculinity? What do you mean? He considers masculinity. I also consider masculinity. So what's your point? Ooh, spicy. Getting spicy here. Rob says, women love shart. You wish, Rob? Are you revealing something about your interests to us? I wonder. Matt says, congrats on your kid. Thank you, Matt. So, Astronaut Man says, my girl's kind of crazy. She scares me sometimes, and I'm pretty crazy myself, so she's really cuckoo. Well, a lot of guys like the crazy women, don't they? They love it. And it seems, Astronaut Man, if I can be so honest, you freaking love it. You're crazy, she's crazy. You love the craziness, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Jellyfish says, hi, Mom. Hello, son. Lola Lo says, definitely, I did watch most of your videos, but still, anything more? I'm not liking it, Lola Lo. This right here is something more for you. So make it worth my while, please. Give me a good question here and not just give me more, give me more, give me more. Please, sir, can I have some more? Evie says, Vic, can you elaborate on the raw attractive power that men have? Again, it's been a while. All right. What do you want to know about it, Evie? Just a little stroking of the ego for y'all? Ask me a more specific question and I'll be able to tell you. But what do you want to know? I got to warm up to just get all into the sex brain worshipping men. No, right now I need to educate men, but who knows? Perhaps I will be able to begin worshipping men in this live towards the end. Uh-oh, baby's crying. So Mudra says, how come 90% of women respond to nonchalantness and 10% get hurt by it? Please, Mudra, what do you mean by nonchalantness? Give me a specific scenario. Do you mean like you ignore them and they like it, but then 10% get hurt by it? Let me know. Seems like that's what you're saying. MMFS says, does your skin even age? Looks like a baby's. Oh, it ages, all right. The bad camera is helpful in that respect. So, thank you. Evie says, when did you give birth, Vic? Congratulations on becoming a mother. Thank you, Evie. About a couple months ago. SOA says, does it really come down to women sacrificing more for their partner, man, for them to stay longer / committed in a relationship? So is that something the red pill guys are telling you? Like, oh, your marriage will only last if... Uh-oh. Little baby.
I think Mama's on the live.
Little baby. Do you want to join the live with Trishers? Oh, we got
somewhere to sit.
We got Beardo in the house. Yeah, just pull up your chair over there. We got Beardo in the house, guys.
I can get it over there.
And we got a sweet little baby.
We have a lunch here. We got this bench.
Perhaps this can turn into a breastfeeding. Just kidding. You haven't been out of the house when you make jokes like that. Oh, the little baby. All right, guys. You know who it is. It's your boy Beardo. And your boy Tristers. So Lola says, I want to see the baby. Is it a girl or a boy? He is a boy. So far, he identifies as male. Well, we actually don't know, right? So, AH, hello. Wait, I missed is life. Would you tell a guy you have a boyfriend, even if you don't, to see if he will chase more? No. I wouldn't, because why would I want that guy to chase if I have a boyfriend? Like, it doesn't really make sense. So, you know what I mean? Tully says, Corey Wayne considers masculinity calmness. You consider it raw anger. So masculinity equals calmness? Okay. Brilliant, Corey Wayne. Wow. Really brilliant. I'm sorry, but that doesn't impress me much, Tully's. Wow, he considers masculinity calmness.
You telling them about my masculine anger?
Brilliant. Oh yeah, this guy's got the raw anger right here, right? I guess I manifested it. So Zen McMillan says, what biases do women have towards men? You mentioned the hyper-masculinity bias before. Can you elaborate? Sure, Zen. They got like 101,000 biases, right?
Biases.
But, not the grammar police over here. Biases, yeah. The hyper-masculinity bias. They see men as super scary, super dangerous, super strong, super cold, super callous, super toxic, super volatile, super rageful. These are biases they project on men, okay? So that's why they're afraid of men, because they both fear and respect men secretly. They're in awe of the pure volatility and danger of men, and they project that on all men, not just Conor McGregor or someone like that, or Mike Tyson. They project that on like, your nerd at the game store. So that's the hyper-masculinity bias. Yeah. So does that answer it, Zen? Does this shock you to your core? Because it's true. It's straight up true. David, would you like to comment on that?
No.
Huh? See, now that's the hyper-masculinity bias. See, like he just said that. It's like being a guy, having nothing to say because you're cold, callous, and toxic. That's like what a girl would think instead of just, he doesn't have anything to say. You know what I mean?
Well, I can think of one.
Let's hear it.
One time we kind of see this.
Okay, let's hear it.
Like with male strippers.
Ooh.
How women are just like, they just like grab the men and like, hurt them a lot of times. And just like, oh, he's a guy, he can take it.
Great point, David. Yes, that's so true. It's like they think that a man doesn't have feelings. A man can't be like sexually assaulted. A man couldn't be like hurt by a woman kind of like non-consensually like coming on to them because men are hardened, cold, tough, sex fiends. These are the biases women have about men. Is it right? Is it fair? No. That's why I'm half women's rights activist, half men's rights activist. They both have problems.
They think men are supposed to know everything about sex.
Yep.
When, if anything, they know less about women's bodies than the woman herself.
100%. That's another part of the hypermasculinity bias. They project that men know everything about sex. They think men are like super sexually skilled. They just like have like a natural facility with their sexuality. Just get them in the bedroom and they're going to know exactly what to do. If he wanted to, he would. That's how men act. See, the common phrase, if he wanted to, he would, basically implies that he is a man. Therefore,
he doesn't have any insecurities.
He has no insecurities.
He just goes after what he wants.
Everyone knows that men go after what they want. Women, on the other hand, we're shy, we're retiring, we're mild-mannered, we're insecure. But men, they're like coming out of the womb, tough, cold, hardened, aggressive. So if they want something, they don't have a problem going for it. Could they be more wrong? No, right? They could not be more wrong. So, but that's what they think, guys. Truth moms for you. So what do you guys think about this? Are you stunned? Are you flabbergasted? Are you shocked? So, yeah. So good question, Zen. Great question. CJ says, do you like men that cheat? I hate them. Well, I feel I can be somewhat sympathetic. He's implying he cheats. So I can be somewhat sympathetic, but I think they need to get honest with themselves and start getting better conflict resolution skills, start being more honest, and if necessary, hire a polyamory coach so they can come out and say, listen, I want multiple partners, and be willing to face the consequence if the woman they're with doesn't want them, or give the woman they're with that same opportunity. If she doesn't want it, break up and honestly go about your polyamorous ways. But to just dishonestly lie and go behind someone's back, no, I do not like that, and I do not think it's right, and I think that they need to, excuse the phrase, man up, adult up, and honestly face the music and do things honestly. So yeah. But a lot of people don't want to do that for different reasons. It's inconvenient to do that, and they feel they can't do that. And, they might have some good reasons, but no one said it was going to be easy, right? It's probably ultimately better. David, do you want to speak to that?
If women like men that cheat?
Yeah.
No, they hate that.
That's what I said. So yeah. So Tammy says, yo, I just landed on your page.
They don't really understand it either.
Yeah.
Right?
Good
like,
point.
To a woman, it's like an emotional betrayal, right? And to most guys, it's just like, oh, I just wanted to do it because I was horny.
I think so what's the difference there?
Like, a guy could go, cheat and it wouldn't mean anything.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, obviously we're always talking about generalities, right?
Yeah.
But for the most part, a woman cheats because it does mean something.
Yes. The studies show that women are more likely to cheat with someone they have an emotional connection with, and men, it's like the opposite. Basically, anyone who gives them the opportunity, probably. Anything else you want to say about that?
No.
Okay. Tammy says, yo, I just landed on your page just 10 minutes ago, for real, and I watched one of your videos from 5 years ago where you spoke about the raw power a man has. Just saw your live, and here I am. Welcome, Tammy. Welcome. Awesome. Thanks for joining the live. Samuel77 says, why do some say that being funny and high energy is attractive if others say being calm and stoic is attractive? Dude, do you want to take that one?
That's a tough one.
Is it?
Well, I do think both can be attractive, but I think that it is more of like the masculine to be, like stoic, and like the Rock or whatever, the less emotional one, the one who's giving the support rather than receiving the support. But women like funny too.
For sure. Yeah, I think that, that's one type of guy who could be attractive, and calm and stoic is another type of guy. I think David makes a good point that if one had to edge the other out, calm and stoic might be considered more masculine to women. Okay, like funny and high energy, there is a risk that you could come off like more feminine with that. But funny is an attractive quality, high energy can be an attractive quality, calm can be an attractive quality, and stoic can be an attractive quality. These are all attractive qualities when combined with the most important attractive qualities for sexual attraction.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's really what we're not saying is how attractive are you? You know what I'm saying? And how much do you understand women, and how much can you provide them with what they want? Right?
I mean, polarity is only one piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
Like it's feminine to be taking care of a baby.
Oh wow, you're simping for our baby right now. No, just kidding. I think it's very attractive. Just kidding. This is like, as they say, porn for women. Bake says the legend is back online. Thanks, Bakes.
I think he's talking about me.
He may be, dude. You're a legend on this channel. Lo says, I did love a girl, but she said she's a woke person. She likes girls, so I'm turned off. Good? Because she likes girls, and I assume you're a guy? So that makes sense that you'd be turned off because she's lesbian, so that's very good. Please focus on someone who's straight, if you are. Life says, also, why would you offer friendship after this and then travel 1,000 miles away, 30 miles from where this guy lives, and change your profile picture after 10 years looking in his direction? I'm confused to see life. Robbie Tucker says, crazy is fun. That is until she breaks in and calls the cops on you to get your attention. Okay, point taken. Hamed Saad says, Victoria, it is a custom among us in the Middle East not to date. We have direct marriage, and you cannot date a lot or look for fleeting relationships except through some illegal things. What do you think about that, Victoria? I have to be completely honest, Hamed. I don't like it at all. I hate it. I think it's a really bad idea. Okay? You can't just commit to someone without knowing them, without having any idea whether they're trustworthy, whether you're sexually compatible, whether you're even going to have a good friendship long term, What do you think, Beardo?
Yeah, I mean, it's beyond our experience, right? Hamid, I mean, we're just a couple Americans, you know, we don't have that much experience with Middle Eastern culture and stuff, and certainly we have our own thoughts about it, judgments even from a long way away, but it's really hard to have much to say about it when we haven't lived in it.
Very diplomatic answer, dude. Samuel77 says, in pickup artistry, they say you should qualify women where you ask them if they have traits you like and show approval or disapproval to make them chase your approval. Does this work for attraction? I think it could, yeah. It's not the only way to be attractive, but that it could be a little hack. I'm not saying you should choose that because perhaps there's better ways to be attractive, but it could work, I think. Especially if you do it the right way. What do you think, David?
Pickup's not really for me.
Right. Yes, exactly. See, like he doesn't take the approach of kind of like manipulating people to make them like him. And that's, in my opinion, an even better way. But, you have to have some other skills for doing what he does. Okay, so it's not the only way, but if you want to take that path, try it out. And I think there's some truth to it for sure.
I find it a bit amusing and causal that, you have people saying like, oh, like you got to trick them and like show your approval and disapproval to make them crave your approval. And then they're crazy. It's like, well, maybe these tricks are only working on the crazy ones. Maybe that's why you think that they're crazy. Maybe you're helping bring out the crazy.
Great freaking point, David. Great point. Bakes Online says, hey, Victoria, am I weird for wanting to get a nice apartment with the desire to be a playboy and approach women weekly for a better dating life? No, Bakes Online, in my opinion, you are not crazy at all. That's a very common desire. Not everyone has the vision to go for it, but I think it's very important. And I actually wish for most men that they would invest in getting good at skills needed to be a playboy and approach women, because many men are deeply insecure when it comes to women, if not 99% of men. And I think it would be very healing for them to feel confident and comfortable before they get into a long-term monogamous relationship, if that's what they feel like they want to do, because they will feel, that they have proved to themselves that they can leave if they want to. They're not stuck. And they have proved to themselves that they are worthy of attraction from women. And that can counteract a lot of bad habits that men have when they don't have those skills. So I don't think it's weird at all. I actually think it's great. I think it's important. A lot of men actually do it. It's unusual a bit to just focus that hard on becoming a playboy. But some men I've met, they really, really go for it. Okay. And they put everything into it. And I think the rewards are very great. I think it's something worthwhile investing in. So no, I don't think it's weird. I think if you have the desire, why not just go for it?
Having a nice place, nice bachelor pad seems like a pretty big advantage. I never really had that.
Yeah. A nice place is a really nice thing to have. I love having a nice place. It makes a big difference on your, just enjoyment of life, in my opinion, having a nice apartment.
Doesn't have to be big.
Doesn't have to be big, just has to be nice. Like that you make it, well designed inside, and can be done, more cheaply than you might think. Facebook Marketplace and whatnot. So, EV says, and Big says, congrats on the baby, guys. Thank you so much. He's the best. Evie says, Vic, about the raw attractive power, tell me, what exactly triggers that attraction in women? What is the raw attractive energy that women are drawn into? Just give a breakdown, please. Well, it's a bit mystical, okay? It's like, let's just say there's a guy walking along, right? It's like, imagine just little flickers of attraction, okay? Oh, you're leaving, dude?
Yeah, I'm gonna take a little walk out.
Okay. Sad react, dude. Little flickers of attraction, okay? And it can be triggered. It's kind of, I think that's why I call it the raw attractive power. It's a little bit mystical. It's a little bit unknown what actually makes you respond. But, it's something kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, you can't, it's mysterious, I guess is what I'm saying. It's mysterious in a way. What is it exactly? If I know, then if I knew, I would have the keys to sexual attraction. Okay. Now, while I teach you guys about understanding women and I teach you about kind of practical tips to create sexual attraction, if I knew every single thing you could do that made you kind of like mysteriously and mystically attractive to women, like, almost like you just come alive for a second and the woman feels like a pang of sexual desire. Well, I'd probably be like a billionaire, right? I would have the key to the kingdom of like making women feel, turned on, even when they don't want to feel turned on themselves and they have no right to feel turned on. But all of a sudden they just feel turned on. So, I don't know exactly what it is, Evie, but, it's it's there. It's there, all right. Sometimes David's just doing something simple, and I'm just suddenly feeling that pang, okay, that flicker, where it suddenly becomes like super magnetic and like super attractive. So yeah, I kind of listed some things that could trigger it in that video, the raw attractive power. But could I give you like a full breakdown? I wish, I really wish, okay? And yes, many people have critiqued me on that video for saying, oh, you didn't explain it. I'm like, okay, I didn't say I was going to explain it. I just talked to the camera. You know what I'm saying? So, Samuel77 says, why do you support mode 1 when it suggests to quickly show interest, even sexual, to a girl? Doesn't that basically filter out any girl who doesn't already like you right away? Yes, Samuel77. Well, here's the thing, okay? There's different ways to be attracted. There's different ways that will repel certain people and attract other people. For example, with mode 1, you are going to attract people who are submissive and horny if you do it right, okay? And yes, you will repel like 99% of everybody else, okay? So is that the best approach? Well, it could be for some people, okay? I don't think it's the best, but it could work, okay? So do you get it, Samuel77? And the book's good to read, even if you don't want to do mode 1. If you don't want to devote your life to mode 1, the book is still helpful for, explaining some important things, like the power of integrity, basically. Robbie Tucker says, congratulations. It's going to be the best, scariest, amazing thing that you will miss because they will grow up fast, too fast. Hold them while you can because one day they won't want you to hold them. Oh, Robbie, I know exactly what you mean. I love it. I love having my baby. He is so adorable. And that's why I need to keep my male gaze lessons going and keep learning about men, because I want to make sure that I understand male culture enough that I don't unintentionally not understand him or annoy him or harm him even. So yes. SU Dash says, if they're so scared, why ain't they all carrying guns that they are skilled with, and why ain't they all black belts by the time they are 20? It's an interesting question. I mean, I think it's a good question, honestly. But I think there's a lot of like indoctrination for women telling them, do not be aggressive. You have to be kind. You have to be sweet. You have to be pleasing. You have to be pleasant. You have to smile. You have to be bubbly. You have to be soft. And they basically tell women in so many words, if you are aggressive, if you are confrontational, if you are direct, you are masculine. You are a bad woman. Women don't do that. You will be a pariah. You will be, rejected. People will be disgusted with you. These are the hidden messages, basically, that they're telling women. Don't be aggressive. Don't be a fighter. Don't be confrontational. Don't be masculine. So that basically makes women not so comfortable, being a martial arts fighter, okay? Because women are basically told, if you are more masculine than a man, which is kind of easy for women to be in a lot of ways, because men, you know, they're kind of being like, they're kind of insecure a lot. They kind of are insecure when it comes to women, right? So women don't have any of that holding that back. So it's kind of easy for a woman to be like more aggressive, more masculine, more confident in a one-on-one interaction with a man in some respects, right? Because like, let's say a guy's approaching you and he's kind of nervous to talk to you, right? Well, the woman isn't nervous. The woman gets approached by men all the time. So it's easy for her to be like masculine in the sense of just like, what, like in her head, she's thinking like, what do you want? Let's get to it. Ask me on the date. Let's go. Oh my God, this guy isn't doing it right. She's more confident in that situation because she has more options. She gets hit on all the time, right? So, but the thing is, women they feel they have to tone that down. They have to suppress that. They have to hide that because they should never be more masculine than a man. So that's kind of a program running in women's head all the time. Be more feminine, be more soft, suppress my masculine urges, suppress my aggression, suppress my confrontational. So that's going on in a lot of women's head. That's some good info for you guys to understand women, okay? They feel masculine, but they suppress it. They're suppressing it a lot. So, Robbie Tucker says, I hate it when a female who I don't know at all in public will just walk up and grab my arm to look at my tattoos. I have done it in bars, malls, while out shopping, and it's just wild to me. Yeah, I've heard from people who have tattoos. They hate that. Yeah, they don't like that. But hey, seems like you're getting attention from women. Samuel77 says, if women don't like it when a guy tries too hard to impress them and convince them, why do they expect men to chase them and take the lead? And how can you get her to chase you and want to please you? Well, you can get her to chase you and want to please you maybe in a few ways. One, being super attractive so that you fit her model of the dream guy, aka Chad or Tyrone, right? Just look the part, look like a Hollywood actor, look like a model, no matter how hard you have to look smacks to get there. And she will think, damn, I want him. I want him to play the part in the movie of my life. She'll be more motivated to chase you and please you. Okay, so look smacking, that's one way. Okay, another way is by getting them emotionally invested in you. Let's say you're not the best looking guy in the whole world, okay? But you know how to do basic dating etiquette correctly. You go on dates, you're good in bed, you have sex, and she will start becoming more emotionally invested in you, probably because she likes you. At that point, she will then be more willing to chase you and want to please you because she's already invested in you. But in the beginning, you should not expect women to chase you and want to please you when you haven't hooked her. You know what I'm saying? So this whole like men are the prize, it's like, what have you done to be the prize at that point? For most men, they haven't done what's sufficient to be the prize, but they still want to be chased and want to be pleased. Well, that's earned usually, okay, whether through looks maxing or through knowing basic dating etiquette, understanding women. Dude, do you have a point on that?
I heard not the most attractive man in the world, and I thought you were talking about me.
Aw, no, dude. You are the most attractive to me. Yes, you are.
No, to you maybe, but
What?
to you. But I'm just saying you don't have to be Brad Pitt or whoever. Who's the
Or
attractive
Russell
guy
Crowe
now?
look-alike.
Russell Crowe.
That's him.
Oh yeah.
Dude, you are. Look at you.
Timothy Chalamet. Like who's the Brad Pitt?
Timothy Chalamet is pretty
No.
big right now. Wouldn't you guys agree? So, and what do you have to say about this one? If women don't like it when a guy tries too hard to impress them and convince them, why do they expect men to chase them and take the lead? And how can you get her to chase you and want to please you?
Is chasing trying to impress them? I don't really think so.
Yeah.
Like, again, speaking in generalities, okay, but like you have a heterosexual male and a heterosexual female, and like the gender roles are partially baked into our DNA, partially baked into our culture for, thousands of years. And so like the simplest path to being successful is to step into that role and provide the kind of experience that a heterosexual woman desires from a heterosexual man, right? So part of that is like being the pursuer, being the aggressor, being the sexual initiator, right? So I don't think that's trying to impress them, like, peacocking, like is to me is like more like trying to impress somebody, whereas just being like, hey, I really like you, I want to go out with you, I want to sleep with you, is just being a man and filling that role that's like I say, baked in.
So are you saying that if a man were to be like, why doesn't she chase me? What?
That sounds very effeminate, doesn't it?
To me it does, but a lot of guys want that. That's exactly what most guys want, right? How can you get her to chase you and want to please you?
That'd be great.
Right.
Like, of course.
Right.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
If some woman who wasn't a prostitute just walked up to you and was like, hey, please take me to bed.
Yeah.
There's somebody for everybody. Like, you can be effeminate and still find someone who finds you attractive, and that's fine. I have no problem with that, right? Just like you can be kind of a weird looking guy and find somebody who thinks you're attractive.
Dude, you're not weird looking.
Okay, all right. But nonetheless, I mean, like, you find me a lot more attractive than the average woman does, and that's great.
That's not true. Actually, women find him very attractive.
And like I didn't have all the characteristics that like women traditionally search for, and that's fine. Like, whoever you are, you can find somebody for you. But if we're going to talk about the best ways to be successful, like being the guy that most women are looking for is how you are successful, whether that's looks or attitude or financials, or just like how you behave and making the woman feel like a woman, right? Like, if you think about this, okay, our society is much more equal than probably just about any human society has ever been, right? Is that because women don't want to be, taken care of and treated nice and special and made to feel like a woman, and they don't want to feel the love and the different emotions and hormones that are built into us? No, not at all, right? It's other things that are making society more equal, mostly like women getting more into the workplace over the last 50 to 100 years. But there's still all that romance desire inside women that is here's the important part. Okay, what I just said was not all that interesting, but the important part is there's still that desire for romance inside women, and if it's decreased by a very small amount, but their opportunity to experience it has decreased a large amount.
Good
So,
point.
if anything, I'd say more than ever, it's important in the main to fill that masculine role and put the woman in that feminine role that she wants to be in, that she reads about in romance novels and watches in rom-coms and all that stuff.
Great point, dude. There's a lot of guys who are kind of confused and they're too scared because of Me Too to take that role anymore. Perhaps it's covering up for some insecurities they had to begin with. And you're right. So there's more opportunity than ever and more value than ever in a man who is willing to fill that role.
Even feminists, even, highly educated women, even women who are in high power jobs, like probably even more so, right?
Of course. Of course. Yep. Feminists and regular women, whatever that means, want the same kind of guy.
Yeah. I mean, like, why do women who are highly educated want a guy who's even more highly educated? Why are women who are successful want a guy who's even more successful, right? Like, they're, I don't want to say slaves, right? But they're beholden to their own desires and wishes to find this, this romance, and a lot of times like fit into the gender norms, right? And it's harder for them, right? When they're out there, being the traditional male role of like, the CEO or the breadwinner or whatever, like it's a lot harder for them to feel like the traditional feminine role. So they want it though. So yeah, I would say being the traditional male role, being the gentleman, being the guy who's take charge, being the guy who is going to take care of the woman, treat her unequal, right? This is where it gets confusing for a lot of people. Treat her unequally, treat her like a woman in a romance novel. More important than ever, I think, probably.
And a lot of guys, they actually become a bit like bitter and resentful because they're like, women want equality and they're not going to give me like any respect for being, masculine. They actually say they hate men, and yet they still want special treatment like in romance. I'm not going to do it. Like, no. Actually, my male gaze coach, he just sent me a video by this guy, Alexander Grace, who many of you may know. And that's exactly what he was saying. He was just like, he showed all these clips of like a pregnant woman being like demanding a guy give up his seat on a bus or whatever, and the guy refusing. And like different things like that. Like he gave the example of a woman asked him to walk her to her car at night. And then once he got there, she was like, oh, by the way, yeah, the reason I wanted you to do this is because I have a psycho ex-boyfriend who's stalking me. And he was like, you're putting my life at stake. I've like never been so insulted in my life. And then he gave like the example of Hillary Clinton saying like the number one victim of, war is women.
Yeah.
And stuff. And so he was basically saying like, men aren't getting any like respect for like giving their lives in war. Yet we're still expected to like just as a given sacrifice like our lives to your psycho ex-boyfriend for the sake of chivalry or whatever. So what do you think of that, Diz?
Okay. So you don't want to be the guy who like takes a woman out who, is in the working world and be like, oh, these feminists, right? You don't want to be like, oh, like a woman could never do a man's job. You don't want to be mansplaining, explaining in a condescending way to a woman who knows a lot, something in her own field, right? Like these are not the ways that you want to be masculine, right? Instead, you want to just like do the little things for her like it's nothing. Like you don't hold open her door and tip your fedora and say, "My lady," like you just like hold open her door like it's nothing, like it doesn't mean anything. You pull out her chair, just you pick her up, you plan the date, like you just do these things like I'm the guy, like it's just natural for me to do these things, even when it's not natural for you to do it. You just, you take on that role and it will be appreciated. What were you saying? Oh, okay. So leave the gender wars at home when you go out on a date or like, looking to meet somebody. Okay. Like, is it fair that like, men have to pay for the dates or whatever? No, who cares? It doesn't matter whether it's fair or not, right? I mean, like there's all kinds of unfair things on both sides. It'll never be fair, and you're not going to fix the gender inequalities when you go out on a date, right? Like all you can do, you've got some goals, she's got some goals. Try to make your goals match together. Like in the concept of economics, like fair trade, like you're giving something to get something that is more valuable to you. She's giving something to get something that's more valuable to her. Okay. So in this analogy, like the thing that you are giving is like this, romance experience. And the thing that you are getting, in all likelihood, is the thing that you want the most, which is sex. And it's really not a lot to give a little bit of romance in order to get sex. If, that's not necessarily your goal, but, we're talking in generalities and typical cases. So just do it. Just give her what she wants in exchange for what you want. Everybody's happy.
Very well said. Very well said. Yeah. And also, just to add on to that point real quick, she needs romance to have sex with you. So do you want her to not enjoy sex with you? I mean, she's basically not going to have sex with you if you don't give it. But even let's say she did give it, she's not going to enjoy it. Don't you want her to have a good time? Don't you want her to be turned on? Don't you want her to be into it? Don't you want her to be like, this is fucking awesome. This is sexy. So give it. Or do you want her to just think, God, I hate my life. I hate men. I hate how I never get turned on in the bedroom. I hate how men take advantage of me and violate me, and they never give me what I need. No, of course not. So that's what they want. That's what they need, right? Anyway, does that make sense? Now we got some super chats. First of all, let's get to Roro because he did it first. Roro, thank you so much. He says, long time no see. I appreciate your super chat very much. Thank you so much. And if you had a question, which I missed because sometimes people don't put the question in the super chat box, please copy and paste it below, okay? We'll get to you. Now, 6LAV Media also super chatted. Thank you so much, 6LAV Media. I really appreciate your super chat. And he said, what is the most effective way for a woman to vet/test a man for his true intention/commitment without direct questions or asking her male role models? Okay. David, do you want to take that one?
Why don't you take it for a swing?
Good question. So let me try to understand this. First of all, are you a woman or a man? What's the most effective way for a woman to vet/test a man for his true intention/commitment? Okay, that part I get, but then this part is confusing. Without direct questions. Ooh, nice. Elicitation. I love it. Or asking her male role models. Okay, I think I'm getting it. I think I'm getting it. All right, David, take it away.
No, you go first.
No, David. I hadn't formulated my answer yet. So
all right. One way that Victoria and I kind of break from traditional advice as far as like women go,
okay,
is like if you're not sure if the guy is just like looking for sex or if he's serious about a relationship or whatever, just sleep with him. Right? Like if he's just if he just wants to sleep with him, like just get it over with, and so he can like ghost you or whatever it is he wants to do, and like you just save everybody a bunch of time, right?
Yeah.
We don't believe in this like boiling the frog thing where like you make him wait, to have sex or whatever, and then like you finally have sex with him, and then like he's proven that he wants to be around it.
Yeah.
it has its, but you know, if you're somebody who enjoys sex
Yeah.
as a woman, and you know think you will enjoy having sex with this guy, and then like he has sex with you, and then like you never hear from him again, like that's not on you. That's not him rejecting you, right? He's just he's just revealing himself as that's what he wanted, you know. And if you're a woman who has like kind of a sex positive mindset, right? And you sleep with this guy and he's going to think, oh, it's too early. What a slut. I don't want to be with her. Good. You have like, you know, gotten him to reveal himself, and he wasn't the guy for you anyway. And like, you can just move on. So, you know, I'm not saying have sex with somebody you don't want to have sex with. I'm just saying like, if you want to say the most effective, this is like one of the most effective, most direct, time-saving ways for a man to reveal his true intentions. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be sex. Sometimes, like, you know, some non-penetrative sex is just enough for a guy to reveal himself and
That's
be like,
a good point.
you know, that's all I wanted. I just wanted to, you know, get some whatever.
That's a great point. Dude, counterintuitive, brilliant. So, yeah, amazing advice. You never hear that advice given, but it's true. Just freaking give it to them. Kind of reminds me of like,
if you're like a traditional Christian girl and you want a guy who kind of has what we might call sex negative attitudes, then you probably do have to wait.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like you're right. It's good advice for women with a high sex drive, okay? Because they're not going to have a problem with sex. You know, they know how to stick up for themselves. They know how to get what they need out of the sexual encounter. But for other women, you know, who are just less confident sexually, who have more negative feelings about sex, like, you know, it's not as easy because they will feel hurt. They will feel, oh, I did something wrong. Oh, I got used. I got taken advantage of.
I did sex wrong or bad.
I wasn't experienced enough. That's what a woman literally has been commenting on my YouTube channel. I feel so bad for her because she's saying, you know, what do? I don't feel I'm experienced enough sexually for men to like me. I'm like, where to even begin with that comment? Like, you need a consultation ASAP because you're so far off. But so many women think that. Like I said, the hyper-masculinity bias, they think men are, you know, sex experts who are highly critical and judgmental and going to be like, you're not good enough at blowjobs. I'm done with you. Who does that? What man does that? But they really think that. And then my answer to that, I thought that was a great answer, David. But my answer to that is she really needs male gaze lessons. Okay? She needs to understand men in a way that most women do not understand men. They've got the Chad goggles on. They see a guy who has looks maxed or who is just naturally beautiful, plus looks maxing or whatever, and he's feeding them the lines that, you know, they heard in their romance novels or they heard in their romantic comedies, and they're completely bought in instantly. Okay? They're sitting ducks. Okay? They're stupid. They're not stupid, uneducated, ignorant. Okay? They have the hyper-masculinity bias, of course, and they don't see men for who they really are. Now, I'm not saying this is like bad, but men, they're insecure. They are, you know, inexperienced. They have desires and needs of their own that are different from what women want. And if women don't understand that, they are going to be so easily fooled.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And they are so easily fooled, okay? Because most women have no clue that you guys are insecure. None. They think you don't experience insecurity at all. They think you don't have like low self-esteem. They think you don't need validation. They project the hyper-masculinity bias, like I told you. So they don't know what they're looking at in front of them, okay? So, yeah, it's dangerous for them out there. They come in very naive, very blind, okay?
As Sun Tzu said, if you know yourself and you know your enemy, you will not be threatened in 1,000 battles.
It's true. And for example, not to not to toot my own horn, because I still have a lot to learn about men and the male gaze, and I'm not an expert, okay, but I am
You're pretty much an expert.
I'm confident in saying I know more than 99.999% of women, okay?
That's an expert.
All right, fine, that's an expert. But I still need to learn more, okay? However,
and what we also need is more likes. 53 likes on all this gold.
Okay, thank you, Dad. So now, what was I saying with that? Yeah, so I'm not fooled by men at all. Like on every online dating show, we were watching The Bachelor tonight. It's very easy for me to see through what the guys are saying. That doesn't mean I don't like them, but I realize, they're trying hard to give women what they want, perhaps not fully wanting to give that, but wanting to get sex or wanting to get whatever they want. I don't fall for it. Okay. I could see through it. I could honestly be like, not like this would be good, but just like, drop the mask. Let's just talk honestly. I could. And I think it would go better. But anyway, I'm not saying whatever, but I'm just saying most women don't know that. They should. So if maybe this is like your daughter or a woman friend, or maybe you are a woman, but you should get a male gaze coach. I have a good one. Write to me, mynonmotherlife@gmail.com. Maybe you can pay him because he's amazing. And there's a lot of other guys who have given me amazing male gaze lessons as well. So yeah, write to me.
Got up to 67 likes. That's better.
Oh, nice. Thank you for the likes. Now, Tolis super chatted me. Thank you so much. He says, super chat, for persisting through rudeness equals erotic question. Now, Tolis, you'll have to elaborate on that. Was that a question I already answered, or is this an erotic question you want to ask? Copy and paste it in the bottom of the chat. And thank you so much for your super chat. I appreciate you and your continued presence at my lives. All right, so, all right, guys. Okay. Let's see.
Victoria answers a lot of questions for free, but if you really have a burning question, the surefire way to get it answered is super chat.
That's true. We answer the super chats because we appreciate you guys. So let's see. What question should we take next? David, I'm curious. This one. Stars Mural asks, how would you describe a high-value female?
How would I describe a high-value female?
I'm curious.
Well, like for me personally, I don't think that helps very much.
Okay.
I mean,
it's different for him than most guys.
Let's be just completely honest, like across a wide swath of males, what makes a woman high value is her looks.
Truth bomb. Not for you guys, though. That's not going to come as a surprise. But if there were any women here, it would be a truth bomb. So,
but I think as a guy, you're really hurting yourself if you focus too much on looks.
AH asked a really interesting question. Is not wanting to feel masculine why women don't like dropping truth bombs, Victoria? In a weird way, yeah, kind of, AH. It's like women shy away from like direct, confrontational, blunt language because we've basically been told that's not feminine. So yeah, in a roundabout way, you're right that if a woman were just to talk like I'm talking, okay, and just like being really blunt, they would feel masculine. I feel masculine like when I do these lives in a way because I'm like, I'm not trying to be pleasing to you guys. I'm trying to just impart like the most vital information to you guys. So I'm sacrificing like, oh, I hope they find me attractive and pleasing and like a good mother and like sweet for just like, I don't care if you guys think I'm weird, think I'm masculine, think I'm, ugly, think I'm just like unattractive. I don't care. So yeah, I'm kind of sacrificing femininity for truth. So, yeah, a lot of girls, they don't want to do that. They will continue having a hyper feminine voice. They will continue with the hyper femininity behaviors, amplifying it up, okay? Wearing clothes men like, wearing makeup men like, doing the hair the way the man likes, because they want to be seen as pleasing. They want to get those benefits like from guys because they want to be seen by guys as likable. And this is all subconscious, basically, for a lot of them. Sometimes it's more conscious than others, but it's mostly subconscious. So, yeah.
Another thing on the high value question that I think guys hurt themselves a ton is by worrying too much about what other people think.
Could you elaborate on that?
Is this girl that I'm with, is she high value enough for me to not be embarrassed?
For sure.
Like, I think of myself as an 8, so if my friends see me with a 7, then that lowers my status, or my family, or whatever.
It's huge, okay? And I'm not gonna be a hypocrite. I did the same thing when I was younger.
Me too.
And so did he. But stupid.
Especially if you're somebody who's like not having as many dates and stuff as you'd like to have, because you're passing up on opportunities because like you feel like these women that you do have opportunities with are beneath you. It's a big mistake.
Wait, could you repeat that?
Like, if you're a guy who's getting all the dates that you want,
yeah,
fine. This is not who I'm talking to.
Yeah.
I'm talking to somebody who isn't going on a lot of dates, isn't
Yeah.
getting as much sex as they want, most of us.
Yeah.
So like, it's in most cases it's because you are passing up on a lot of the opportunities that you do have, right?
Oh yeah.
So, and somebody will say like, oh, like you want me to lower my standards, you want me to date the ugliest girls or whatever. I'm talking specifically to the people who are not having as many dates and interactions as they would like. Okay. I mean,
and that's everybody.
To those people, yes, lower your standards. It's okay. You can go out on a date. It doesn't mean that you're gonna have to marry this woman. It doesn't actually change your value, right? You have to decouple your own like self-image or self-worth with the idea of like, oh, I'm holding out for a 10. Like, it's okay to go out with somebody who isn't a 10. You might learn something. You might have a good time.
And I'll tell you something else. Sexual chemistry, I don't know if this is coming as a truth bomb to you guys. It's not tied to looks, okay? Yes, sexual attraction, that might be tied to looks. But sexual chemistry, that's something else entirely, okay? That's like, let's say 2 people on the dance floor, okay? They're vibing. They get in rhythm. They have fun together. They just click. You know what I'm saying? Versus someone who's very attractive, but the rhythm is just off. It just doesn't feel right. You know what I'm saying? The first one I was describing, that's sexual chemistry. Okay. And I learned that when I was a stripper. Okay. Because it's like certain people, they might be like really ugly or whatever. They might be very conventionally unattractive, but something just, the rhythm just locks in. You just feel right. You feel like you're vibing. You feel like you're clicking. The sexual attraction is like naturally flourishing. Okay. And it doesn't have to do with looks. It really doesn't. I tested that so many times because sometimes an amazingly model-esque man who literally was a model would come in and it's just like, I would be coming in thinking, oh man, I think this is the love of my life. I think this is the one. I think we're going to just like connect. It's going to be amazing. And it's just flat, falling flat. Whereas other times there could be a guy and he's like 5'1" and something is just working. Something's just like blossoming. Okay. But most people never get to that point and they never allow themselves to get to that point because they're too concerned with subconsciously or consciously, what will other people think if they see me with this person? What does it say about my value, like he was saying? And they never get to explore their sexuality with unattractive people who will give you sometimes the best experience of a mind-blowing experience with chemistry. With chemistry, you're not even allowing yourself to experience like mind-blowing sexual experiences with different varieties of people you click with because it's like They don't look perfect. They don't look Hollywood. Okay, fine. You're missing out. Truly.
Yeah.
Do you agree, David?
Yeah, I made a decision years before I met Victoria that I wasn't gonna merge, wasn't gonna hold my self-worth to this idea of like holding out for a 10. And I met a lot of women and I had a lot of fun and learned a lot of things and had a lot of sex that I wouldn't have otherwise had if I was like holding out for the absolute 10s.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I met my perfect 10, I was much more ready.
Yeah.
If I had spent those intervening years not dating anybody because I was holding out for the 10, when I met my 10, I might have blown it. I think there's a very good chance, in fact.
Yes. It's so true. How are you going to get sexual experience? How are you going to get practice? How are you going to feel comfortable and not like insanely nervous because you've had no experience, and that's guaranteed to happen, going to make anybody nervous. Okay? And guess what? Women don't like nervousness. They're turned off by it. So it's actually a lot smarter if you can get some practice so you get rid of the nervousness to the extent that you can, because that's going to be attractive to women on its own. So, yeah.
Also, women don't think like, oh, this guy went out with a 5, he must be low value.
Oh my God, it's like the opposite, honestly. It really is. I mean, not like you guys are thinking, okay? Like, they might be kind of impressed if the guy went out with a 10, right? But if the guy went out with a 5, it's not going to be like an immediate turn off. For some, it might be. For some others, it wouldn't be. But it's not. That's an interesting question. But, yeah.
They're not going to be like, oh, yeah, this Uggo. If a guy's like, oh, this Uggo wanted to date me. And I was like, no way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm way out of your league.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you're going to score points with women that way.
Mm-hmm. So, all right. Great answer, David. Great answer. Oh, God. 6 Lab Media says, you guys are seriously undervaluing the meaning of a 10. None of you have ever been on a date with a 10, lol. This is the attitude that gets you guys in trouble. Okay. It really is. Why? Just why? Try to appreciate the looks of people and not just say, you could never be a 10. There's no way any of you have ever dated a 10. My standards are so high, they're sky high, they're in heaven. Only Jesus could F this 10 or whatever. Like, it's crazy. I'm sorry. Renew the R1. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it for your super chat. Hello, how are you doing? And here's his question. Hi, Vic. Question. Is it ever appropriate / advantageous to check out a woman? I'm talking in an obvious and intentional way. Not when you initially meet, per se, but after you've struck up a conversation. David, what do you think?
I think this is a question for you.
No, I think it's a question for you.
No, it's a question for you.
Okay. So your question is it ever advantageous to check out a woman in an obvious and intentional way? Okay, yes. In some scenarios, it could be. For example, let's say you're on the dance floor at a club, okay? The liquor is flowing, okay? It's a sexually charged environment, all right? Women especially, are expecting a little bit more forward, aggressive, and sexually charged behavior from men. So they're kind of open to it a lot of times, okay? So, and they're kind of like showing off their sexuality a bit on the dance floor, perhaps. So in that respect, they kind of appreciate sometimes if the man meets them sexually, you know what I'm saying? However, there's other scenarios. For example, at work, they're not expecting that. For example, at a coffee shop, they're not expecting that. For example, walking down the street, that's kind of a iffy thing. It's not like that's going to create a date, but they might be more expecting it because, like, I used to live in New York City. It's very common for guys to do that, like on the street. They're just sitting on the stoop. And so they're not going to be shocked. They're not going to be horrified. A lot of women don't like it, but some women are okay with it. So, yes, it can be good, but I think it has to be an appropriate scenario that's kind of already sexually charged and women are open for it and expecting it. Okay? Otherwise, it's going to be a very niche woman who is open for it.
You could say it's a point on the runway.
It's a point on the runway. Great point, David. You guys see my runway video, right? It's like, at around, I'd say 69%. The 69th
Nice.
percentile on the runway is where women are kind of open for a more sexually charged vibe. You know what I'm saying? So how they get there could be in different ways. What do you think, Renew the R Lounge? But yeah, it can be cool. If a woman's turned on, she's going to appreciate and even like a guy checking her out sexually. Okay? If she was turned on, it's sexy. If she's not turned on, it's not right. It's not appropriate yet. It's like, bro, you skipped the first 68 points on the runway. You know what I mean? It's like, what the hell? So, yeah, what do you guys think? So, all right. So who wants the next question? Rage Kid says, this is all pure gold. Thank you so much, Rage Kid. I appreciate that. Awesome.
Here's a question.
Oh, okay.
Why do women make it so hard? Why is it so complicated?
Okay.
Why can't, a man and woman just like go out to a nice dinner and then immediately go sleep together? And just.
That's a good question. So the question is, why don't they want to just have casual sex, basically, right? Or
yeah, I guess so.
Why do they have to have romance? Well, okay, I think it's a really good question. I think there's some different aspects to it. But one is, this is kind of an obvious one, but most women, they're not expecting, if a woman were just to chat at a coffee shop and then be like, let's go back to your place, for most women, that would be that would feel incredibly violating. That would feel incredibly risky. That would feel really intense. That would feel kind of out of control behavior. One, you feel it's dangerous. Two, you'd feel it's violating, because most women don't know how to take control of an experience like that. So I feel for a man, it would almost be going to a woman's house, having the woman tie him up so he's completely bound, hands free, okay? You don't know the woman, and she's going to do whatever she wants to you sexually. That's how it is for most women. That's how it feels, okay? Because they don't know how to take control. They don't know how to make sure they get an orgasm. They don't know how to control the guy and tell him, no, I don't like this. Yes, I like this. Here's what I need. Here's what I need to feel comfortable. So it's the romance aspect and the emotional investment aspect, the conversation, that helps her feel okay, I can let down my guard. I can relax. I can talk to this guy. I can put up boundaries if I need to. It helps her feel safe. So that's one respect. I don't think guys understand that just how much women feel my role in sex is to be completely passive. That's dangerous. That feels very unsafe. That feels very dangerous, because it's the guy could do whatever to you, and the guys do. And so you could come away feeling very violated and never getting an orgasm, never getting pleasure out of it. So, Cordy is spamming us saying, did you file a case against the YouTuber who plagiarized your content? Yes, I did, Cordy. And I'll tell you what happened, okay? Sarah Dawn Moore, okay? She's a complete fraud. She, word for word, copied multiple of my videos, okay? She's probably doing with other videos. She's got like, almost 1 million subscribers, right? And I filed a copyright complaint against her. So did many of you guys, which I really appreciate. YouTube took it down. Then she filed a, what's it called? Like a plea or whatever it's called, right? Like, I forget what they call that legally. Appeal. And she basically had a lawyer, okay, write that I guarantee that I added, my own intellectual content to this, and it was a commentary. No, it wasn't. It was word for word with 2 words changed. So this is my own intellectual property now, and I am willing to fight my non-other life in court to prove that. So then YouTube writes you and says, okay, this is out of her hands. She wants to sue you to prove that, she owns this content. You have 7 days to hire a lawyer and say, yes, I will fight this in court. If you do not show us that you have a lawyer who's willing and you're willing to fight this in court, within 7 days, we will reinstate her video. So I actually had a consultation with a lawyer, and, she's like, oh, it's going to cost $5,000 to do this and $10,000 to do this. I'm like, it's not worth it. Okay. I just need to, not involve myself with this dangerous person, honestly. Like, who does that, right? What kind of person does that? And she still writes me sometimes, threatening to sue me, and of course, nothing comes of it, because that's probably what she does to everyone. And that's how she threatens all the people she copies from. Okay? So I guess that's how it goes. I'm sure like in the music industry or Hollywood, that's what people do. They threaten to sue, they intimidate you, they harass you, and they steal your content. I guess that's life. That's the 40 laws of power for you, right? Dangerous people out there. People on the cluster B spectrum. Best just avoid them. You know what I'm saying? So that is what happened with her. It's crazy. It is literally crazy. That's what she's doing. That's how she's pumping out like 7 videos a week or whatever. Mm-hmm. She just copies word for word and then threatens, intimidates, and harasses the content creators in order to steal their content. Like, what the hell? What do you guys think about that? But yeah, like everybody on that video, luckily, the video that someone commented about how she's stealing my content on suddenly went viral. Sometimes I feel like YouTube, there's some guy at YouTube like looking out for me. That's sometimes how I feel. I'm like, there's a guy who works at YouTube and he's helping me out. Because the video that talked about
Hey.
What?
Maybe it's a girl at YouTube.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. But I kind of feel like he got jealous. Good. So yeah. But like the video that somebody commented like, oh, this woman's stealing your content, went viral, got over 1 million views. So it got a lot of exposure of people seeing that she's stealing my content. So I appreciate that. But a lot of people in the comments were like, have you tried filing a copyright complaint? I'm like, yeah, I have. But it's just not worth it, right? To sue her. Why? I don't want to get involved with her. You know what I'm saying? I want to just stay as far away as possible from crazy people like that. So, yeah, that's the truth, Corty. What do you think? So, Rage Kid says, yes, she is dangerous. Stay away from her. Cluster B is exactly right. Your authenticity will shine through. Thank you so much, Rage Kid. I appreciate that. And yes, I credit the book, The 5 People Who Can Ruin Your Life, which is an amazing book by Bill Eddy, which I always tell you guys to read. And it talks about people like this, and it made me aware. I'm like, yep, she fits the profile. Stay far away. They can ruin your life. So thank you so much. Now, Drewski, thank you so much for your super chat. He says, if a man is highly skilled in something like sports or shooting or car building, How can he let the woman know that he has skills when he's in public and not at the range or the dance floor? Okay, that's a good question, Drewski. Well, you don't want to tell. You definitely want to show. Show, don't tell. You know what I'm saying? Because it can just come across as bragging if you're just like dropping it in a way that's too obvious, right? So, I think a good thing to do, let's say you have the chance to ask the woman on a date, like let's say it's on a dating app or something, is you could just suggest something like, "Hey, why don't we go on a date to this mini golf place or a golf range or whatever sports you're good at?" Or, I think like a shooting range might be a little intimidating for a first date, but perhaps, once you're getting to know her, or you could just, you know, somehow you got to drop it in an offhand way. It's not direct, it's indirect. Okay. So, no, unfortunately, you got to be a little skillful about it. Okay. Because you don't want the woman to think, oh my gosh, not another guy just bragging his head off. The ego of men, the ego on these guys. You know what I mean? Because that can come off as just obnoxious, but you do want to use it to your advantage because, yes, it will come across as attractive. So if you can set up a date there or you can like hint at it somehow, it is a good thing and it will help you. Does that make sense, Drewski? So, great question. Great question. And thank you so much for your super chat. Eric G says, I did end up working with a film director who refused to acknowledge my co-writing credit and went out of his way to claim majority of box office share, despite not offering a cent. I'm getting angry for you, Eric. That's unbelievable. I mean, I guess it's highly believable because like this kind of thing happens all the time, but that's enraging. It's horrible. Oh my God. So sorry you had to deal with that. It is so sad to think about how much that happens. Just awful. Wow. Austin Daniel says, women be shopping. Why? Well, Austin, unlike most men, I should say, women know the importance of looks maxing. In order to looks max, you need to shop for clothes to set off your figure to the best advantage, okay? And to convey high status and to convey, whatever vibe they're trying to get, okay? So you got to shop for that. It takes money. It takes time. It takes effort. It takes research. That's one reason why they're shopping. So, yeah. So, Eric says, yeah, Hollywood or LA in general can be a sneak pit in the realm of fashion and entertainment. Well, I don't doubt it, Eric G. I really don't doubt it. That's cool. You're a screenwriter. Very cool. How do you get into that? So, Phil Mania says, my friend is very good looking, tall, and girls chase him, and he doesn't even try anything. Yep. Some people are blessed. Some people are lucky right that. The rest of us have to work for it. Evan Wells one super chatted me. Thank you so much. He says, for your legal fund. That's very sweet, Evan Wells one. I really appreciate that. He says, question, do you think watching Baby Girl is valid homework? Have you seen it? No, I have not, and I probably need to. Evan Wells one. Let me look it up right now. Oh, yes. I have seen about this. I have not seen it, but a high-powered CEO puts her career and family on the line when she begins a torrid affair with a much younger intern. I should watch that. What did you like about it, if you have seen it? And do you think, I'm sure it does have some interesting aspects to, dating, romance, sexual, erotic fantasies, kink. Probably be very good for me to see. Thank you so much, Evan Wells 1. I appreciate you. Okay, guys. So Truth Lab says, do women tend to stay within their range of feminism to masculine, or can a masculine man automatically make them fully feminine? Okay, that's a great question, Truth Lab. So here's the thing. What women mean by fully feminine and what you guys mean by fully feminine is probably quite different. So when they're saying, oh, I want a masculine man, and then I'll submit and I'll be fully feminine, it's slightly different than what you guys are probably thinking. Okay? Because what they're thinking is, if a guy is super rich and he basically provides like this life of luxury for me, I will live that life of luxury and I will enjoy that life of luxury. And because I'm enjoying that life of luxury, I'll have the time, space, and energy to have fun in the bedroom with you. So that's what they mean. Okay? So it's not necessarily that, they're going to be happy folding your laundry and doing your dishes and, supporting you no matter what you do if you're not providing them like something like Elon Musk could provide them. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like this dream that you guys think. Now, is it more likely though that if a guy acts masculine and he's good in bed and he's assertive and he's basically good in bed, that they will act more feminine? Yeah, in the moment for the sexual experience and perhaps like for a little while into the relationship. But when the relationship gets real and like you're having kids and a life together, a lot of problems come up, okay? And they're not going to stay feminine because they're going to start like being like, I got issues, okay? Because it's a fantasy, okay? It's a fantasy that young girls are really drawn to. They believe that if they could just be this confident Chad, that they could just live a dream life of luxury and access their sexuality. And that's what they kind of mean by being in their feminine. It just means I do what I want. I do what I like. I pursue my hobbies and interests. I don't have to make money. I stay home and I enjoy life. Okay, yeah, it's pretty great deal, right? But they're not thinking, I do the dishes, I do the cleaning, I do the cooking, I do all the childcare. I don't have any like spending money of my own. I have to do whatever you want all the time. Like I have to service you sexually when I don't feel like doing it. Like they're not thinking about all that. No, they're thinking I get to pursue my hobbies and you pay for it. Nice, right? Austin Daniel says, have you ever heard of The Manipulated Man? It's an anti-feminist book written by a female author in the 80s. I am a feminist, but that does sound pretty interesting. I'm going to look that up. I like to read books from, opposite viewpoints, and sounds pretty interesting. I'm making a note right now to look it up. Thank you, Austin. Totally says, Victoria, my super chat was for the question in the chat, so can you give your insight? Okay, let me look for your question now. Totally, thank you for letting me know. Now I'm searching for it. Sorry. Okay. So I see this part. Plus, what is persisting through her rudeness to you? And then was there another part, Toys? Because I keep saying plus what is persisting in her rudeness. But can you like copy and paste the full question or just flesh that out a bit, Toys? And sorry about that, but I just don't Just flesh that out a bit more for me, and I will answer yours. Apologies, Toys. So, Gerardo Visoso, thank you so much for your super chat. I appreciate it, Gerardo. He says, Baby Girl doesn't really show anything about game. It just shows a cheating woman that steps out of her marriage. Nothing honorable from either person. Okay. Thank you for your take, Gerardo. I like it. That's a hot take. Interesting. Interesting. Yep. Okay. So she cheats, and neither of them are good people. Does the Tristers need some
Not yet.
milks?
No.
Okay. Thank you so much, Gerardo.
Are you planning on going for a while still?
Yeah, David, do you want to answer a few more questions?
Well, I asked you a question. I wanted to try to answer it.
Oh.
See what you think.
Oh, okay.
My answer.
Now, I just want to wait for one thing, which is from Tolis, because he said that my super chat, I missed his super chat, basically. So I'm waiting for him to copy and paste. But in the meantime, Tolis, make sure you get that in. In the meantime, David, let's hear it.
Okay, so I said, like, why do women make it so difficult?
Yeah.
Basically, right? And to me, I think the main answer is that men and women want different things.
Okay.
Right? They're after different things.
Yeah.
So I was thinking of an analogy. Okay.
Okay.
You got two friends.
Okay.
And one of them really likes American football, and the other person doesn't really like football, but he likes to sports bet. Okay.
Okay.
They have to go somewhere. They can't watch the Super Bowl.
Okay.
So they record it, right? They get back. The first friend wants to watch the whole Super Bowl.
Okay.
Maybe including like some pregame show and all that kind of stuff, right?
Okay.
Spend 3-4 hours watching this event.
Okay.
Right? The second friend just wants to skip to the end because he wants to know who won and whether his bet got paid or not.
Okay.
Right? And so the first friend is like, no, like I want to watch the whole thing. That's why I recorded the whole thing. I could have just looked up afterwards who won.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about like the experience of watching the whole game. It would spoil it for me if we jumped right to the end and saw Tom Brady holding up the trophy or whatever. Like that would spoil the Super Bowl for me because I wouldn't have watched it and gone on that journey of like seeing, how everything happened.
Yeah.
Whereas the other friend's like, no, I just, it's all, I just care about who won. I just want the climax.
Mm-hmm.
The first friend also wants the climax, but the journey is just as important to this first friend. And the second friend just wants the climax and isn't interested in investing the 3 to 4 hours that it takes to get to the climax.
Ooh, that's good. So you're saying the man is like the sports bettor and the woman is, so the man just wants the sex and he doesn't care about the date? Or,
right.
And that's why it's
He
seems
doesn't
difficult.
want the date. He doesn't want the romance. He doesn't want to get to know the other person.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really good. So it's like, from the guy's perspective, it seems so difficult because it's like, God, why can't we just like skip to the end?
The good part.
Let's skip to the good part. And
that's what we both want anyway, right?
And the woman's like, and it's like, oh God, this is taking too long. That's interesting there. So it's, that's great. Because it's like, the guy is like, can we have sex now? Like, when is it good enough to have sex? When have I satisfied your requirements to have sex? Like, oh my God, this is hard. This is dangerous. This is risky. Yeah, because it's like, at any turn, the woman could like reject you and then it's all for nothing, So I guess, is that kind of what you're saying? Or not necessarily?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what you're saying.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's really interesting. And I think that's a huge blind spot of women. Like, women have no clue that men are so sexually starved. Like, a lot of times I talk to a guy and he hasn't had sex in like a decade or more. Women have no idea. They assume men are like having sex every weekend. Okay. And this could be a really good looking guy. Okay. And he hasn't had sex for like a decade. So women have no idea that you guys are like if I hadn't had sex for a decade, I would be obsessed with sex. I would literally be obsessed. I would be probably some like creepy pervert. Like, I don't know. I would for sure be creepy. Okay.
Because it's so easy for women to get sex that
It's
they have
so
no
easy.
conception how much
Yes.
harder it is for men.
They have zero conception. They think it's easier for men to get sex. They're that delulu. Okay, I should be a little negative about women for a moment. They are so ignorant in that respect. They have no idea just how difficult it is. Yep. And so they're very confused what men are doing on dates. They assume that everyone on a dating app is there to find the one and get into a relationship, basically. Yes, they assume there's some F boys on there who are looking to F, but they don't understand that basically every guy on there is looking to F. They think, oh, it's just some random F boys. And, if I avoid those, I'm good. No, you're not good. Everyone else on there still wants to F. You know what I mean? They don't know that. They think, oh, well, maybe it's not me that he's looking for, but he's definitely looking for the one. I'm just not pretty enough. He's probably looking for a supermodel, but he definitely wants to get into a relationship with her and have, the picket fence dreams with her. So they have no idea that some men have not a shred of desire for that. You know what I'm saying? At this point in time, perhaps. Or ever. Who knows? So great analogy, dude. That was really good. I think you solved it.
I would block these people who spam the chat or.
Well, I block enough people, guys. I block people. But mostly it's people on my video of Alpha and Love who are just misogynist AF. I can't take it anymore, guys. But none of you guys are that bad. And trust me, I leave up a lot of really bad stuff. But just some people push it over the edge and they're just so sexist, so misogynist, so bitter, so hateful that I just I can't take you. Goodbye. I did do that for a long time. But now I can't take it. All right, let's go to Tully's.
Is this the super chat question?
Yeah. Okay. So he says, does YouTube really not show WTF? Question was, you have stated that girls find persistence through her rudeness erotic. Does that still count when her rudeness should be perceived as disrespect? David, what do you think?
Well, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is this is tricky territory.
Yes.
Right? Is she being rude because she really finds you offensive? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Or is she being rude as, what some people might call a shit test?
Mm-hmm. Basically a little bit of witty banter, witty repartee, a little bit of just seeing if you can handle it. Yep.
I mean, Victoria loves it when I fire back when she's being kind of difficult on purpose. But then again, sometimes we're having a real fight and then she hates it if I fire back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do know what you're saying. I do, Dad.
So, yeah, I would say, if you have any chance with the woman in question, the more that you take it in stride, the more that you can offer a cool response, not heated, not angry, not offended, right? But just kind of oh yeah, well, blah blah blah, I think that you're gonna do well. You're gonna go much farther than being I cannot believe you got so disrespectful to me. I'm a man. You need to show me respect.
Mm-hmm. So true. That comes off very weak to women. When a guy gets kind of triggered and emotional, that comes off very weak. You'll notice in romance novels, the guy always gives a wry chuckle, okay, when the woman shows him disrespect. It's kind of you think you can get to me?
Ruffle my feathers?
Ruffle my feathers? You can't, because I'm stronger than you.
Mm.
I'm more emotionally
Stable.
in control, exactly, stable than you. I'm quicker than you. I'm even more witty than you. I can outwit you. I'm smarter than you. This is kind of what's being said subconsciously. So if a guy gets all triggered, he's you must respect me. It's demanding respect comes across as weak. Earning respect comes across as strong. You know what I'm saying? Because somebody who truly is strong doesn't have to demand anything. It just like naturally, comes to them because people respect them. They're like, yeah, he is good. He's good, all right. You know what I mean? So that's why a lot of guys' advice, like a lot of red pill advice, is like, never let a woman disrespect you, like walk away and everything. But that's not really good because the thing is, most women, they are in a mental state you guys can't imagine, okay? Because they've been hit on by so many guys, especially the attractive women that you guys all freaking love. They're being hit on constantly. So they're very confident because they're used to this. They're used to guys coming up to them. They're used to guys trying to impress them. They're used to guys trying to ask them questions. So it gets boring, it gets old, it gets annoying, it gets obnoxious. So to spice things up for themselves, they're going to make it interesting. They're going to say whatever the F they want, okay? And they're going to see, can the guy handle it? Is he a weak beta? Or is he not scared by me? Is he not challenged? And can he just roll with my witty repartee, my banter? Can he roll with the punches? And can we have fun together? Can you make it interesting for me?
I mean, you can see this in romance fiction all over.
All the time.
Enemies to lovers.
Enemies to lovers, okay? But what will come across is just kind of like weak, and they'll kind of like bully the guy, is the guy gets all like mad and upset, and it's just like, haha, yeah.
That's like the wrong guy that she might be with at the beginning of the movie or the novel, right? The guy who's just like, we're together, and so you have to like respect me, even though I'm not earning it. I'm not, really your dream guy, but like, we're engaged.
Yeah. What they really respect is a guy who's, like David said, unruffled, and he's great at that. And now, of course, there's even a kink for that, which I think is what you're referring to, that I was saying, like, they like brat taming, bratting, okay? That's basically the love of testing, challenging, and seeing how the guy responds. Uh-oh, the poor baby. All right, well, we may have to go, guys. So hopefully that makes sense, Tullies. Oh, no. So, yeah, and this guy's the brat taming expert. If you guys want brat lessons from this guy, he's a bona fide brat tamer.
I don't give lessons, though.
Well, perhaps if they knock on your door for 100 days, you will. All right, guys. So we got let's get like one more question, all right, before we gotta feed this little baby. So does that make sense, Tullies? Okay, Eric G says, yay or nay, the mentality of a strong man is to let the woman try to knock him down, but he nonchalantly relishes the challenges and wins. I say test away. David, what's your opinion? I think it sounds good. David agrees. You got a stamp from David and me. Yes. DJ says brat taming equals women act out and men have to placate them. Yeah. See, this freaking blows the minds of many men at the beginning of their journeys. Okay, to phrase it nicely. Okay, because they don't want to do that. It's crazy to them. It doesn't make sense. They want a nice, domestic goddess or whatever. They don't want a strong, challenging, difficult women. Okay, but that's what women want. A lot of them, at least. Most of them.
Of course. Are the heroines in romance fiction like tame?
Never.
They're always feisty.
They are always feisty. There's not one, because if there were to be a tame romance novel, women would just be like, oh, I don't like her.
I live this. I have to be tame in my daily life in order to pretend to be feminine.
Yeah. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. You're speaking as for a woman, right?
Yeah.
Wait, so what did you say? You have to be tame and when?
Like it's a fantasy to live out this feisty woman.
Yeah, that's true. Because that's how they feel deep down. That's how they feel. Yeah, exactly. I guess you're right. Yeah, they want to just be like, I don't have to conform to what you tell me is feminine. I want to be myself. I want to be authentic. And if you can't handle it, fine.
Looks like I just taught the master something.
Never outshine the master. No, just kidding. That's
Is that rule number one?
Yep, that's rule number 1 of
40
40.
laws of power.
Yeah. But, no, that was good. Yeah. DM says Katharine Hepburn. 100% DM. David, do you know about Katharine Hepburn?
Not much.
She's feisty, all right.
Right. So is Katharine Hepburn like the female, like live vicariously through her, and Marilyn Monroe is like the male gaze fantasy? Right?
Well, women like Marilyn Monroe too.
That's true. You're right.
Women love both. I mean, Katharine Hepburn, she's kind of like unique and eccentric. I really like her, like the movie Bringing Up Baby. She's kind of like masculine because she's really tall and she kind of dresses like in men's clothes and she's really outspoken and she's kind of quirky. But I think like women are attracted to Marilyn Monroe too because that's like Marilyn Monroe, she's like living in sex brain basically. And women, they like know they have that inside of him, but they're kind of like, wow, she has the courage to just like be that in public out loud all the time. That's kind of cool. She went for it. I don't know if I could handle that amount of male attention and just being that vulnerable, putting up no boundaries and stuff. But they're kind of drawn to it because they have a sexuality like that as well, but they just keep it hidden and they keep it safe because they don't feel safe enough to let it out. So Katharine Hepburn is kind of like different fantasy for them, but yeah. So anyway, The Town. I have not read that book. Is it good? Okay, let's get a good question.
Better close it down.
All right, you want to close it down? All right, let's get one more. The Grateful Guy says, this girl has been trying to get to me, but I am not interested. I mean, I was, but she wouldn't step back for me to come to her, take charge. Now it's become annoying. How do I subtly put her off? There, what do you say?
I don't think that's the question we're here to answer.
It's really easy. Just say, hey, like, I have to let you know I'm not interested. It's just be harsh and not rude. Don't insult her, but just say, like, I'm not interested, and she'll get the picture. Hey, I can't do anything right now. I'm really busy with work. She'll get the point. Okay. All right. And Sherlock Holmes will answer his spam.
No. Don't reward that.
It's fine, dude. That's the only way.
Come on.
What is it? It's good. It helps my engagement, probably.
It's like $2 to do a super chat. Instead, you'd rather be annoying and super spam.
Well, I don't necessarily agree, but Sherlock Holmes, if you're still here and you want to super chat for like $1 or whatever, we'll answer your question.
I don't think you can answer a question when you do $1. I think you have to.
Oh, $2.
You have to do $2 in order to get.
Okay.
Well, it's your thing. Do whatever you want. Reward this bad behavior.
I don't think it's that bad. It's different if he was spamming some like horrible thing, but it's just his question. So he says, how do I approach an intellectual woman when I don't know what her type is? She's my age, 19. Your answer?
My answer?
Yeah.
I don't want to answer this guy.
Oh, come on. Well, I think like it's the same approach you would do for anyone. Like most women are, okay, not every woman is intellectual, but most women are perhaps interested in some manner of intellectual things. But when you don't know what her type is, none of this matters. Okay, you're going to approach the intellectual woman the same way you'd approach anyone else. Okay, but just ask her about her. Depends like what the situation is, how you're going to approach her. Like, is she your friend at school? Is she on an online dating app? Ooh, I kind of need a little more detail, but it's pretty much the same for an intellectual woman as it is for every other woman. Really. Grateful Guy says, sorry if this sounds silly, but how did you meet your wife, sir, and how did you win her over?
Horse D.
Oh, good answer, dude. Yeah, a lot of guys on our channel, they love saying the answer to everything is horse D. They love it. It's like, shut your trap. Everyone knows the answer is horse D, like, basically.
Seriously, dude, your bro should shave. Well, I mean, this is kind of like almost like a meme. It's almost like a joke, but I get approached by a lot of women saying like, "Oh, wow, I love your beard."
Beard lovers, men and women, love the beard, guys.
I'm not recommending it, but you know, if you stand out, if you have, let's just say like 90% of women hate the beard, but 10% like it. Like I would still take that ratio because like the 10% that like you and stand out to are worth more than the 90% that are turned off by it, in my opinion. Because I mean, like, how many women do you need, right?
Okay.
You only need one woman at a time, typically.
Guys, I'm sorry. I have to go. The poor baby needs his milk, so I gotta go. Thank you guys all so much for being here at my live. David, I have to thank you because you bring a lot of logic, which I don't have as a woman, as an emotional being with hormones.
Eric,
the chat.
I identify as.
I'm kidding, guys. But
I identify as Radagast.
okay, Lord of the Rings, right? All right, guys. Yeah. So this guy with his masculine energy, it's great because it's like, you know, I know you guys don't want to listen to a woman, and he's a man, so it goes in your head, as opposed to me, one in one ear, out the other, speaking womanese. Just kidding, guys. I am repeating many misogynistic things people say to me. So, all right, guys. Thank you so much, everybody. We really appreciate you. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for your great questions. We got to go. Bye, guys.